All right, welcome in. Mount Polumbus Speaks here. Do a daily debrief with you guys. I'm going to try to start doing this on a more regular basis. I can't promise it'll be every single day, but it would be nice to be able to just do a quick hitter, 10, 15 minutes with you guys as often as I can on a debrief of whatever happened in the world of sports in Denver, Colorado. So, appreciate you guys joining in. I hope you guys had great holidays. New Year's just happened. New Year's resolutions. I hope you haven't already broken your New Year's resolutions. The Denver Broncos, I hope, made a New Year's resolution to play defense again because the once vaunted Denver Broncos defense has been a flat-out liability in the month of December, but January is here. And hopefully they have recommitted to finding stellar defense. The Denver Nuggets might want to commit to a New Year's resolution of playing defense as well, because when they play just a snippet of defense, that's a damn good basketball team. Turns out in the NBA, you can actually lose games in which you score over 120 points nowadays. So if you hold the team to under 120 points, feels pretty dang good like you're going to win that game in the NBA, but I'm not going to focus on the NBA tonight. Just got a few quick hitters I want to get to with you guys. First off, Pro Bowl was announced. So congratulations to the Denver Broncos Pro Bowlers. They got 3 of them. Nik Bonnito, Pro Bowler. We all knew that was going to happen. Nik Bonnito has had a just breakout season of all breakout seasons. I mean, this dude is having a borderline defensive player of the year type of conversation. He's not going to win it. But he's in the conversation. Matter of fact, the leader in the clubhouse for defensive player of the year right now, if you look at the Vegas odds, it's actually Pat Surtain. So I'm a little bit surprised by that because usually it's harder for corners to get the notice that pass rushers do, because when pass rushers make plays, it's so much more obvious, right? It's big plays, and corners for Pat Surtain. A great game for Pat Surtain oftentimes could just be nothing happened, right? They didn't throw the ball his way. Certainly, if he gets interceptions, that helps. But Pat Surtain is getting the notice that he deserves, and that's cool to see. So we start with Nik Bonnito making the Pro Bowl. Awesome, man. That dude is – how much money is Nik Bonnito going to get? All of the monies. He's going to get all of the monies. Now, you actually can't even approach Nik Bonnito with a contract extension right now if you wanted to, because under the CBA, you have to complete – he's on his rookie deal, and if you're on your rookie deal, you have to complete your 3rd season before the team can even approach you. So I would imagine the team will approach him as soon as the season ends, but he makes the Pro Bowl. Pat Surtain obviously makes the Pro Bowl. We all know who Pat Surtain is and what he's done for this football team, and it's cool to see him getting the notoriety that he deserves as a Defensive Player of the Year conversation. The 3rd and final Pro Bowler that the Denver Broncos got is Marvin Mims, which is cool to see. Obviously, he's a punt returner, and that's why he made it 2 years in a row. Marvin Mims has been a tremendous punt returner, kick returner for the Denver Broncos. But he's developed into, he has developed into so much more than that. Marvin Mims is now a featured part of the Denver Broncos offense, which is crazy, man, because I don't think we all have to think back too long to when we were all frustrated with Marvin Mims. What did we have to do to get Marvin Mims involved in the game plan? Last year, Sean Payton was talking about it in the offseason. Yeah, we got to get Marvin involved. Early on this year, they were trying to get Marvin Mims involved, and they just couldn't do it. And although Marvin Mims made it as a punt returner, he's coming along as wide receiver, as we all know. Marvin Mims' game last weekend against the Bengals, dude, breakout type of game. That's the type of game that you can't put back in the bag. After that performance from Marvin Mims, he is officially on the map in the NFL circles. So that's cool to see, man. Sean Payton's got very creative with Marvin Mims this year. I know I'm not breaking any news here, but what Sean's been able to do, Sean always loves having that joker role, right? That's what Sean Payton calls it. He likes having a joker on his offense. That was Taysom Hill in the past. Marvin Mims is a radically different player than Taysom Hill, and he's got a radically different role in the Denver Broncos offense than Taysom Hill had in Sean Payton's Saints offense. But what Marvin's been able to provide is mismatches. And it's been cool to see Sean Payton's creativity start rolling with Marvin Mims. And it all began about 6 or 7 weeks ago when he started putting Marvin Mims in the backfield. I remember the first time I saw Marvin Mims get a carry as a running back. I'm like, what are we doing here, Sean? Are we that desperate? I mean, for like 2 years, the only way to get Marvin Mims the ball was gadget plays, fly sweeps, reverses, bubble screens, things of those nature. So when we first put Marvin Mims in the backfield, I'm like, God, are we trying that freaking hard to get Marvin Mims involved? We're going to try to make him a running back. Well, he's not very good as a running back. He's okay, but that's not why he's in the backfield. Marvin Mims is in the backfield because of the mismatches that it gives us in the passing game, and boy, has that been exploited. For about a month straight, Marvin Mims, even when he doesn't get 7 or 8 catches, he seems to get at least 1 or 2 very impactful catches throughout the game. And why does it work? Well, because of the mismatches that you get. You hand the ball off to Marvin Mims in the backfield once or twice a game just to keep the defense honest, but you want him in the backfield for the passing game. Because what do you get in the passing game when you put Marvin Mims in the backfield? Well, you get him matched up with linebackers, and that's a mismatch for any linebacker in the NFL. Marvin Mims is flat out one of, if not the fastest dudes on this Denver Broncos team. And DBs usually cover the fastest dudes on the team. Now we get linebackers. Sometimes you even get dropping defensive ends. That's happened a couple times on that wheel route that we throw to Marvin Mims all the time out of the backfield. You get a defensive end that's dropping back in zone coverage, trying to cover Marvin Mims. And Sean Payton's been able to really take advantage of that. So here's to hoping Marvin Mims, who's already a Pro Bowler, already a very valuable member of this Denver Broncos team. Here's to hoping Marvin Mims could develop into a Pro Bowl wide receiver. I don't think it's that insane. I was about done with Marvin Mims about 8 weeks ago. We couldn't figure it out. Sean Payton was doing everything he possibly could to create touches for Marvin Mims, and it just wasn't working. But now it is, man. And Marvin Mims obviously had the deepest touchdown throw in the NFL this season last week. That was the deepest throw in the NFL. That throw from from Bo Nix, Marvin Mims, air yards, whatever, nerd talk. That was the deepest throw of the season. So that was cool to see. Then he has the heroic touchdown catch at the end of the game that, dude, I don't know how the hell he came down with that thing. That was flat out a Hail Mary, man. That was a Hail Mary from Bo Nix. Just tossed it up there. Marvin Mims was in the right spot. He's got a dude in front of him, got a dude behind him. Comes down with the rock. Cool stuff to see. Bummer, though, because although the Broncos got 3 Pro Bowlers that are all deserving of it, there's one dude. There's a few guys you could argue got snubbed, but there's one dude that got freaking robbed. I mean, he got robbed. Zach Allen not making the Pro Bowl is a flat-out joke. I mean, it is a joke, man. Zach Allen is a game wrecker. I mean, I could make a case that Zach Allen is the MVP of the Denver Broncos defense, and that includes Pat Surtain, and that includes Nik Bonnito. What people don't really understand, the position that Zach Allen plays, he plays on the interior defensive line in a 3-4 scheme. Those dudes don't get after the passer. Now, we've kind of become accustomed to it here in Denver because we've been very fortunate over the years with guys like Derek Wolfe, Malik Jackson, and now Zach Allen. We had Draymond Jones, so on and so forth. But what Zach Allen has been doing, there was a point, and I don't know what week it dropped off. I want to say it was like week 13, week 14, give or take. Zach Allen, as an interior defensive lineman, was leading the NFL in pressures. The dude's got 8.5 sacks on the season. Now, granted, I know that he got 3.5 last week against Cincinnati, and the Pro Bowl votes were probably already in. But even at 5 sacks, which is what he was at before the Pro Bowl votes went in, that's insane, man. And then you combine it with the amount of pressures that he's having. I didn't fully explain it, but when you're playing in that 3-4 scheme as a 4-eye, so the 4-eye technique, that's the dude that generally lines up over the offensive tackle's inside shoulder. Okay, traditionally, and yes, it's evolved over the years, but traditionally, that dude's job is to be a 2-gap run stuffer. What that means is in a 3-4 scheme, your D linemen, they're trying to keep the offensive linemen off of the linebackers so the linebackers can make the plays, right? So D linemen go laterally, and they got to cover 2 gaps, the inside gap and the outside gap. They're not They're not run stuffers. They're not, I mean, in terms of like getting north and south, they're definitely not pass rushers. And Zach Allen's been incredible. Tillman's been incredible. DJ Jones has been, I mean, gosh, the amount of dudes on this different Broncos defense right now that can get after the QBs, incredible. I feel bad for Zach Allen. Unfortunately, we all know what the Pro Bowl is, and the Pro Bowl is simply a popularity contest. All Pro is what matters. That's the most prestigious award. Our guy, Travis Kelce, led the NFL in Pro Bowl votes this year, and it's the worst year of his season. Why did he lead it? Because the Swifties all jumped in, and it's a popularity contest, right? Zach Allen's just not a household name. And Nik Bonnito wasn't either, but he's become a household name. Let me catch up on a few of these comments here really quick. Dan said, seeing the young talent grow this year has been really nice. Still needs some polish. Yeah, but you know what's incredible? Now the conversation on this team right now, Dan, it's about how do we retain the talent that we've got. It's not so much about who do we need to add. And offensively, we need to add 2 or 3 pieces for sure. But defensively, it's about how do we retain the guys that we got. That's pretty damn cool to see. Sparky Vibe said, hoping for a good finish this week. Congrats to the guys that made it, no doubt. Congratulations to them. And he also said, Polumbus, we line up against each other. I'm winning. I don't get that. I'm slow. I'm dumb. We had another comment in there that hopefully he uses this as motivation to help Denver win on Sunday. I'm sure that's in reference to the Zach Allen snub. It's a joke, man. Zach Allen is the best interior defensive lineman in the NFL right now. Plain and simple. Interior, okay? I was being specific with that. He's the best interior defensive lineman in the NFL. I remember when we made the decision to roll with Zach Allen instead of Draymond Jones. We let Draymond Jones go in free agency. I kind of thought the Broncos were making a mistake because I didn't know anything about Zach Allen. He kind of had a breakout year, but not like this, for the Cardinals the year before free agency, and he was Vance Joseph's guy. So I was like, all right, whatever. If he's Vance Joseph's guy, that's cool. Bring him on over. But I thought Draymond Jones was a better football player. No, sir. Zach Allen, I'm not going to say he's twice the player of Draymond Jones, but he's close to it, man. He's close to it. A couple other guys that you could argue were snubbed. Next on the list for me would be Quinn Miners. Quinn Miners, so the alternates are Zach Allen, Garrett Bowles, Quinn Miners, and Bo Nix. So that's cool for Bo Nix in his rookie year, Pro Bowl alternate. That's a big deal, man. Patrick Mahomes actually didn't make the Pro Bowl this year. That's pretty insane. But of those guys that you could make the best argument that they were snubbed, Quinn Miners would probably be the only dude that's got a very legitimate case at it. In my opinion, Quinn Miners is the best run-blocking guard in the NFL. And he's damn good in pass protection as well. He's an elite football player. He's flat-out elite. I love watching Quinn Miners play football. I love watching pancakes. I love watching him put dudes on their back, and he does it at least 5 or 6 times per game. Garrett Bowles is also just having another pretty typical rock-solid Garrett Bowles season. I know Garrett is easy to hate on, and I get it, man. The penalties are mind-numbing at times, but there's a reason why Garrett Bowles just got extended. He's good. He's a good football player. I'll tell you guys another stat that you probably don't even know. You're probably not even aware of. Do you know that right now, Mike McGlinchey, our right tackle, who often is also easy to criticize because we call him McFlinchy and Garrett holds and all those things, Mike McGlinchey currently holds the longest active streak of any offensive tackle in the NFL without giving up a sack or a pressure. So that's pretty cool. We got some good stuff going on, man. We got a lot of good stuff. So we played the Kansas City Chiefs JV squad this weekend. It's been since 2015 since the Broncos have had this week be relevant. When I was playing, that was the last time that in the last week of the season we had something on the line. Even in 2016, in which the Broncos had a pretty good year and Trevor Siemian led the team to 9 wins that year, they didn't have a chance to get in the playoffs in the final week of the season. So it's been 9 years, man. 9 years since they've had something on the line in the final week of the season. And I'm not going to take that for granted. No, I'm not going to take that for granted at all, dude. I wish they would have beat Joe Burrow because that would have felt radically different going into the playoffs if you had found a way to beat Joe Burrow rather than kind of limping into the playoffs by beating the Chiefs JV squad. But whatever, dude. It's been 9 years. Let's not take this thing for granted. I'm having a little bit of PTSD if I'm being honest, because everybody's telling me how this is going to be so easy to beat the Chiefs backups. And Vegas is telling you that as well. I think Vegas has got it as like a 10-point spread, which is nuts in the NFL. That's flat out ass kicking. What Vegas is telling you is what it should be. But I'm having some PTSD to my rookie year. My rookie year, we were in the exact same position as this team. We had 3 games left. We needed to win 1 game, and we lost all 3. If you won any of those 3 games, that was my rookie year with the Denver Broncos in 2009, 8. One of those 2. I get confused. We had 3 games left, had to win 1 to get into the playoffs. Lost the first 2, came down to the final week of the season. We played San Diego. We played the Chargers. They were in San Diego at the time, and we got our asses kicked. We lost that game like 52-20. I don't know. Somebody could look it up. So I'm having a little PTSD. Because sometimes you feel like, oh, surely it's going to happen, man. You got 3 games left. Well, 2 of those are gone. They've already lost the first 2. The defense has been atrocious in the month of December. I mean, they went from the best defense in the NFL to the second to worst statistical defense in the month of December. They were literally ranked 31st out of 32 teams, this Denver Broncos defense in the month of December. So they got a lot of crap to figure out, man. They got Riley Moss back, which is good. But Riley was either still banged up or rusty as hell, and he clearly was not the cure-all that we were hoping he would be because our defense got ran through. Now, it was Joe Burrow, so Joe Burrow does that to a lot of defenses, but this Broncos defense has got to have to figure some things out, man. I think the Broncos are going to win. I think they're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs JV squad, and we're going to go play the Buffalo Bills and probably get beat in the first round of the playoffs. But, hey, man, we'll be there, and I promise you this. Once you get into the playoffs, we will all get blind faith. We will all get blind optimism, and we will all feel like the Denver Broncos have got a fighting chance to win that game. Maybe not because it's logical, but because we're in the playoffs, and why the hell not, man? So I've seen a lot of people, and I've been having this conversation with D-Mac on my show a lot this week about whether the Chiefs want to intentionally lose this game. Because if the Chiefs lost this game, they could ensure that they don't play the Cincinnati Bengals in the playoffs, and we all know that Joe Burrow is Patrick Mahomes' kryptonite. Here's the deal. The Chiefs are okay with losing the game. They're telling you that by resting 6 or 7 starters. They're okay with losing the football game. And they very well might come out with an extremely vanilla game plan. But number one, I don't buy the fact that the Chiefs are scared of the Bengals. I don't think they're going to play weird games just to try to manipulate things and intentionally lose to the Broncos, just so they can't face the Bengals. Number two, you got to understand that although they might rest 7 or 8 starters, they will. They might have a vanilla game plan. The dudes that are going to be on the field, it's an opportunity of a lifetime for them. Those folks don't get to play football. This is their chance to put film out there for either the Kansas City Chiefs or one of the other 31 teams in the NFL that these guys should be starters, right? And that's how everybody feels when you're playing in the league. Everybody wants to be a starter. So those dudes that are going to be on the field, I promise you they're going balls to the wall. Balls to the wall. Doing everything in their power to have the best game of their life. So Andy Reid might have a vanilla game plan and they will rest their starters. But the dudes on that field, they're going to ball to the best of their ability. And we just got to hope that our starters are a whole lot better than the Chiefs' backups, and they are, and they should win the game. There's a few other interesting situations in the league right now. The Bills play the Patriots. The Bills have absolutely nothing to play for. Nothing to play for. And the Patriots are sitting there at the top of the draft order right now. We've seen the Raiders mess it up. We've seen multiple teams win games here late in the season. We saw the Giants and Drew Lock do it last week, who were primed to get the first overall pick. And now the Patriots are sitting there in control of that thing, right? Well, why would the Bills want the Patriots to get that? The Bills might do the exact same thing that I'm talking about with the Chiefs here, where they actually might want to lose to the Patriots. Because if the Patriots get a win, they no longer get that number one pick. They're an in-division opponent. Why would the Bills want the Patriots to have the number one pick? So, again, the same situation. You can't ever intentionally tank in the NFL because of what I just explained. The dudes that are on that field frickin' care. And they will never intentionally have a bad game because you have one or two bad games, you might be out of the league, right? So the dudes that are on the field will always go balls to the wall. But yes, there's things you can do as an organization to not put your best foot forward. Last week of the season's always weird, man. It's why in fantasy football they don't have they finish your season before the final week of the year because you're resting starters. You see drama across the league. Bad teams, all of a sudden they start chirping. Good teams, they rest their starters. And you just never know what the hell's going to happen. So I don't know what's going to happen this weekend. I think I got a pretty good idea. I think Carson Wentz is still actually a pretty good quarterback. But Bo Nix should be better. And our starters certainly should be better than Kansas City Chiefs backups. And I think for the first time since 2015, we're going to the playoffs. So I'm not going to take it for granted. And I'm going to do my best to not be in the tanks that we kind of limped into the playoffs. And if you're being real, that's what it would be. Rather than winning one of the last two games against the Chargers and the Bengals, this would be limping into the playoffs. Whatever, man. Screw it. Just get there. Just freaking get there. It'd be pretty cool for Bo Nix to be able to say that he made it to the playoffs in his rookie season. All right, let me catch up on a few of these comments. These are going to be quick, these daily debriefs, but I'll get a few of these comments before I get out of here. All right, backing up. Okay, the patient said it's funny because Allen is probably going to go all-pro. Oh, yeah, dude. Zach Allen, he'll be an all-pro. I say mark my words, but that would be famous last words. If Zach Allen's not an all-pro, oh my gosh, talk about it. Talk about a travesty. Pro Bowl is a popularity vote. All-pro is what really matters. T-Bone. And who's to say we don't have a chance versus Buffalo? We did beat them last year. Go Broncos. There you go, man. That's what I'm saying. I mean, logic would tell me that's a far superior football team to the Broncos, but what the hell? Once you get into the playoffs, you never know what's going to happen. Brian says, I really want them to beat the Chiefs, JV squad or not. It would feel good to break the streak. Hell yeah, it would. It would feel great. Dan, I don't think Andy Reid is going to go all out with the game plan. No, neither do I. He'll be vanilla. Although, if you remember back, I can't remember what year it was, the Chiefs were in the same situation, resting their starters. They were crushing the Broncos in the final week of the season. And Dontari Poe, the big fat old defensive lineman, they put him into the backfield and he ran the Tebow jump pass when they were up by like 22 points. So keep an eye out, although I think it'll be a vanilla game plan. It's also a good opportunity for Andy Reid to put junk out there on film for other teams to have to study. So he might have 3 or 4 just uber creative play calls just because he wants to put junk out there for other teams to have to waste their time trying to study for it. Archtop, Wentz has done well in these. Doesn't matter historically. Yeah, I think Carson Wentz is a pretty good quarterback. Andy Reid would tell you he's still a starter. That's not true. But the ghost of Lil Peep. Browns have the right idea. Just start the worst quarterback in NFL history. Pretend you still want to win. Yeah, that's how you do it. Can't ask the players to try to lose, but you can put your worst players on the field. Sparky vibes. I'm hoping the guys are locked in. And again, from the ghost of Lil Peep, limping into the playoffs is better than no playoffs. Hell yeah. So here's the Broncos making the playoffs. Let's get a win against the Chiefs this weekend. Appreciate you.